making connection, and we are live. Hello, welcome to hashtag Artists Adjusting. My name is Brielle, and today we are going to be talking to a beautiful person inside and out. She is a model, she's an actress, she is a singer, she's so much more, and she is one of my dear friends. Her name is Jenna Atkinson, and I have known her since, oh boy, I think I was 14, I want to say. 14. And, oh, wait, sorry. Instagram keeps saying to hang on. Does that mean I should stop talking? Oh boy, what does that mean? Hang on. I'm gonna keep talking, because the live thing is still there. And it's saying hang on, but I think we're connected. So, as I was saying, my guest today, she is beautiful inside and out. Her name is Jenna Atkinson, and she is a multifaceted performer, and she's here, so I'm just going to go ahead and find the button that invites her real quick to join in. Oh, I think I waved at you. Sorry, hold on one second. I think it's going to add you in just a second there, Miss Jenna. Hopefully. Hi!
Hello!
How are you?
It's so good to see your face.
It's so good to see your face. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Of course.
How are you doing personally during this quarantine? How's the family? How's that?
Oh my gosh. Well, for starters, I hope you had a nice Mother's Day yesterday.
We did. Thank you. How about you?
It was good. It's very different. It's like you have to do all the little things during these times because there's so much you can't control. So
exactly.
We went on a little car date, blasting some music and taking long walks. Doing that a lot these days, though.
Nice. No, I even noticed yesterday, don't you think, a bit special because we had so much time to just be with our moms and be able to just be in the moment. And it wasn't about necessarily what you got them or what you did, but more about...
Yeah, there's no distractions, and you're kind of forced to get creative, I think.
Exactly. So I'm so glad you had a nice Mother's Day. I really miss you.
I know. Every time I connect with somebody online, I'm like, oh, all I want to do is hug you and squeeze you and say hello.
Right. I know it's really hard, but I'm so glad that you're safe and you're back in the country. And
yes.
We'll get to that in a moment because you have had a heck of a year it's only May, but
is it? I don't know anymore.
What month are we in? But just for people who are going to watch this now or watch this later, Can you give a little background as to how you got involved? Because you are a multifaceted entertainer. You are an actress, you're a singer, you're a model, you're so much more. So can you just kind of give a background on how you got started in the entertainment industry?
Yeah. I got started just at a really young age. I think the first thing I got started in was dancing. So I just grew up always in dance recitals and loving that. But probably once I got older and found out, oh, you can do dancing on stage and incorporate singing and theater and all these things. I got connected and did that in school. And I guess just from there, it really blossomed from studying it, but then also going into community theater or doing things more professionally. So studying it in high school, because I went to the Performing Arts High School in Bethlehem before it went over to the South Side. So I'm an old alumni.
Campus.
And then continuing it on into college. So if anybody's watching and needs a good college program for theater, I went to Rider University and I studied musical theater there for my 4 years. And I loved it there. So that's kind of just a little bit as far as getting started, and everything else, I guess, is just blossomed from all the different experiences and people I've met. Like even you, because we did, what was our show? Wiz? We did the Wiz together.
I think it was the Wiz. Oh my gosh, yeah.
That was our first show.
We were like 14 or something.
Oh my God. I think I had a photo pop up the other day. And
I remember that.
Yeah, I sent it to you. That's right. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you look like babies.
We really did. Oh my God. It's so sweet how, I think that's really what's cool about theater and different talent development programs. We should mention Sing for America since that's the organization we met through, but there is a really cool community and a family that you become a part of when you do a show or when you do a talent development program. Wouldn't you say that's been a big part of, getting to know people and getting to know other people who are passionate about something similar?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Anytime I do a show, the unique thing about it is you're not just doing a show, but you're making new friends and There's so many, group chats, text message chains, all within like this one group of people. And it's amazing how you can be with this group of people for a couple months or weeks, but you just grow so closely with them, and you have your little inside jokes. And it's crazy. Like on your last show, you're like, oh, I'm never going to see these people again. We're never going to be in this exact time, this
Mm,
exact space all together. And as much as it's fun to perform, but like the backstage community thing, of what's happening there is a
for sure.
completely other show and other experience too.
Exactly, it really is. I think it's one thing to share that connection when you're on stage, and then when you're backstage and you're just goofing around and you're whatever you got
Though
to.
honestly, I think sometimes those are the stories we remember most.
I think so too. I think I
Everything
remember
that goes
mostly
wrong.
backstage when we were together and we were trying to put on eyelashes with all the face paint.
And then wiping it off. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, our poor skin.
Oh yeah. No, whenever that happens, even my hair, like the amount of things I've had to do for my hair for shows, man, it's been
Exactly.
destroyed over the years.
I'm right there with you. And because you have done so much, so you said earlier you started with dance,
Hmm.
and then you grew to theater, kind of introduced the singing and the acting. And when did modeling come into the picture, and how have you been able to balance your love for all those different parts of the industry?
Yeah, so modeling came into the picture probably around high school. If you maybe know this, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I did a beauty pageant when I was a sophomore in high school.
I had no idea you did a
Yeah,
beauty pageant.
I did the National American Miss Pennsylvania beauty pageant. Um,
That's amazing.
yeah, when I was like 16 or 17 in Harrisburg. And I did really well, actually. I ended up getting like the top 10 or something like that, and a couple of like other trophies and little prizes there, which is crazy in itself of an experience to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But from there, I had a talent scout kind of send me something in the mail, or that they had seen me. So it kind of really just started from there. But I ended up taking classes with this little agency, and it was a modeling and acting agency, but they also taught acting and modeling too. So in high school, probably about sophomore, junior year, I would go to Philadelphia about every single weekend, or at least every other weekend. And I took modeling classes, I took acting classes, and then I spent a summer, like a week-long summer in New York by myself, and I met a bunch of agents. And I met and like connected with a lot of people, but nothing necessarily came from it. But what did was a portfolio of pictures that I had gotten taken. And from there, it's funny that I even did this, but I walked into a local modeling agency here in Allentown, and just said, hey, I have these pictures. I want to get started. What can you do for me? And the rest is history. They're
Oh
like,
my
wait,
gosh.
why did you go to Philadelphia when you could have came here? And I said, I don't know. I didn't think about it.
That is, I knew that you went to Philly and I knew that you went to New York, but I had no idea that all of those were pieces to the puzzle that got you to
Each
each
little
community.
connection. Yeah. And the craziest thing was the photographer that I had worked with. Like I was going to Philadelphia, but she was based in Allentown, and she works with this place too. So they were all kind of intermingled.
Oh my gosh. You see,
So
that's when you know
weird.
it's pretty much divine intervention at that point when
Oh
you
yeah,
all those little.
exactly.
That's really neat. That's really neat. And so, do you have one that you prefer over the other, meaning acting, singing, modeling, or do you kind of just find a general love for them all?
I think I have different loves and dislikes about all of them. And I think there's definitely certain seasons where I'm like, okay, I need a break from here, and I want to go experience this now, or I want more of this. Right now, I'm kind of in that situation because I'm like, ooh, you know what? I really want to focus on TV, film, and modeling,
Mhm.
and go into New York and, work with people and see what can come of it, because I've always felt like I was dipping my toes in there, but never fully kind of committed. And now I'm graduated, I'm out of school, I have time on my hands where I can really do that. So I'm leaning more towards that. But I think it's the nice thing about being a creative and being an artist in general is, you kind of listen to yourself and what path you want to go on.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean you necessarily have to continue down that path for years. You can take little breaks here and there. And you can
Exactly.
try something new, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Exactly.
um,
Trial and
but
error.
yeah, exactly, exactly. It can definitely get overwhelming at times. So you
Mhm.
definitely have to, I think, commit to one and know, it's always going to be there. Um, just because I know I personally do that. I love doing a bunch of things.
No, that's
I,
really smart though to be able to.
yeah,
It's almost like when you're doing a garden, you want to make sure you give a certain attention to each, and sometimes you can't do all at once, but you can definitely
exactly.
pick and choose, which is really that I think that's really sad, especially now as people have this time to be at home unfortunately due to the situation, but they do have this time to kind of self-reflect and see what they want to do next and see how they want to grow from this. That's really cool. I think that's great you pointed that out, that it just you can do it all. It's just a matter of how and your strategy.
Yeah, you're not going to necessarily get there overnight, but
Exactly.
it will happen.
Exactly, exactly. And you were getting back to kind of what you were doing more recently. You were in Europe, you were performing, you were having this amazing adventure, and you had to come home early because of the crisis and you had to stop performing. And so, can you kind of just walk us through what that looked like when you were in Europe versus
Mm.
having to come home, what you had to, if you had to quarantine, and what you've been doing now to kind of keep your creativity going and things?
Right. It's so bizarre to me because I always had this idea that I wanted to go work in Europe for like a year before I actually went.
Oh,
uh,
cool.
yeah, like I could show you. I have like a vision board. I'm like, okay, that's where I'm gonna go. It's gonna happen. Don't tell me otherwise. So when it did, it was amazing. Because I never thought it was actually going to happen. But it's weird because it was, I was there for from January until March. I was supposed to be there though until April before I got sent back home. And it's like I felt like I was there for so long. But then the
Hmm.
minute I got home, I was like, I felt like nothing had changed. Like it felt like I was right back. Like, where did I just go? This is weird. But what I was doing for anybody that's watching is I was helping people learn English as a second language, but through theater. So we would go to different schools, and they were all different ages. So we went to different, it could be like middle school, high school, and my last show was actually with an adult learning community. So that
Oh,
was a really cool experience. Yeah. The average age was about like 60 years old or something. And that was
wow.
my first time doing that over the entire, all the months I was there. So that was really
That's
unique
really cool.
experience. Yeah. And what we did was we would bring in about six or so students would come on stage with us, and we do two different shows, one for a younger audience, one for an older audience. And it was just a fun way for them to hear the English. And it was just a fun way for them to hear the English language. And then they got to talk to us afterwards and ask us questions. So that's a little bit about the company itself.
Hmm.
Um, as everything was happening, you know, COVID kind of came into the picture, at least hitting Italy around the end of February. And I remember at the time, I was like, I don't know if this is going to affect me, but in the back of my head, I kind of ultimately knew, what, I don't think this is going to continue. I can already tell I'm probably going to end up coming home.
Were you in
And
Italy?
so at the time when that was happening, I was on my spring break because in France, the kids get a break in the end of February.
Oh, nice.
So I was in Portugal. I spent my break in Portugal, and I spent a couple of days in Amsterdam also.
Mm.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And but I was supposed to go to Italy. I was supposed to be
Oh,
about 40 minutes outside of Milan, so directly where it hit.
oh,
Yeah, so my last 2 weeks when I was in April, I was going to be in Italy. And I just remember when I was reading all of the news, because most of the news I was reading, because I had my European phone at the time,
hmm,
was all the news happening there. So, mind you, I'm looking up what's happening here in the US, but I'm
right.
getting everything from France and Italy. Um,
Gosh.
and the other thing was, too, all of my family is like, are you coming home? Like, what's happening? And yada, yada.
Exactly.
So, hearing everything from everywhere, and then also myself not knowing.
That must have been so honestly unsettling, like
A
to be
little
over there
bit.
and to not sure what. I mean, was it a collective decision that you all decided, or was it the company's decision? How did you know, like, oh, okay, coming home and I'm coming home now?
Right. Yeah. So we, continued to all do our work, go to the schools. And then once that France, I was in France at the time, all the schools, completely shut down indefinitely, and they were actually closing the border off. So I don't know if I could have been like, I think I could have left, but I think any like French citizen wasn't able to leave. But we left immediately as soon as we got that news,
Oh,
because where
okay.
I was based was in Belgium.
Oh, okay.
So they all brought us back there. And then, that next day we had a sit down meeting with our boss. And he's like, I think you already know what's happening because, we work in schools and the schools are shut. We can't do anything. It's live theater. We can't do anything. And we were more than welcome to stay there because they have housing, but we needed to, get out,
Sure.
get out of there as soon as we could. And the crazy thing was, I was sitting down and then 2 seconds later, I bought a plane ticket and I was back home the next day.
Oh my gosh. That is,
So
talk about your whole world changing in 24 hours.
yeah, like very, very quickly,
Oh my
like
gosh.
no time to even think.
And did you have to quarantine? Like, was it already a very present situation over there by the time you got home that you had to take the 14 days to make sure you didn't have any symptoms kind of thing?
Yeah, so they were already, a little bit of a step ahead of the game with social distancing and things like that. I
Mhm.
went to the grocery store before I left, and they already had, everything blocked off, letting a certain amount of people in. So they were, a couple month or two at least ahead of the game.
Mm.
But when I got home, yep, when I went through customs, they had to take my temperature. I had to fill out all the paperwork, and then they told me to quarantine for 14 days. But of course, it's the same thing here anyway. So it's not like I have anywhere to
Exactly.
go or
And you
anything to
didn't
do.
have any symptoms? You've been in the all clear and
All clear. Yeah, I've had no problems. I know all of my family when I was there was really worried about me, even like traveling back and, of course, being in the airports too for the few hours I was there. But the craziest thing was, I got back home a week before they shut down flights, like for the United States.
oh
Um,
my gosh.
yeah. So talk about timing.
Yeah.
But I got back the week after they did this. So prior to that, there were so many people coming out of Europe that it was crazy packed in these airports to get through.
Mm.
Meanwhile, I had like a week after. So when I got there, there had been maybe 100 people in Newark Airport. Like it was a
Really?
ghost town. It was absolutely insane.
So
I've
you were
never
in
seen
like
anything
one
like
of
it.
those major huddles that we saw of like the huge amount of people that were waiting and were stuck and so
Yeah,
you
there
didn't
was
have any
no
of that.
there was nothing. I was like off the plane, went through customs, grabbed my bag, and wait, got my mom arrived and picked me up.
Oh my gosh, how lucky. That's
Yeah.
so great that the timing worked out for you in that sense because I can only imagine what your thoughts were trying to be as prepared as possible and then yet still not
Yeah,
know.
I definitely had a lot of anxiety, don't get me wrong, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what's going to happen? Like I was preparing for the worst, like
Mm.
thinking I was going to be standing in a large crowd, and then when I realized that's not at all what the case was, I was like, oh, this is actually great. Wish it was like this all the time.
Mm. Oh yeah, right.
Be
But
nice.
what now that you're home and now that you know that you're physically and everything you're safe, you didn't have any symptoms. What did you do to kind of decompress from all that anxiety and also keep those creative juices flowing? Because you really, as you said, you went from having this entire lifestyle, this entire project going of the theater, and then all of a
Mm.
sudden you're home and you have to stay home until further notice. So, what did you do to kind of come down from all
Mm.
of the emotional toll that takes and then still keep your creativity intact?
Yeah, I came home, a week, not a week, a whole month prior then. I wish it was a week. That wouldn't have been as bad. But an
Yeah.
entire month, that I wasn't expecting to have time on my hands or, an abrupt stop either.
Mm-hmm.
So, talk about, everybody's dealing with the same thing, but it's crazy. Like, you can't make this up. Um,
For sure.
but yeah, when I got home, I think it was just like sitting in what was happening and being like, okay, this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, gonna, reflect a little bit about my time there. And not obviously, I'm upset that I didn't get to go to all these places, but at least I'm home with my family that was anxious themselves.
Sure.
And I'm safe and I'm healthy. So, all good things. But definitely the first, couple of weeks when I got home, I had to like honestly do the opposite. I was like, okay, I can't do anything creative. I need to, just eat like good food, like the food I've missed
Oh yes,
since I
for
was
sure.
gone. Cuddle with my dogs, like get in my bed, don't have like a sleep schedule, get back onto our time schedule and
Right,
adjust a
yeah.
little bit and binge some Netflix and then kind of realize what's happening and go from there, because it can easily become overwhelming to realize, everything is changing so quickly and rapidly. So I kind of needed to, I think, take a step back before I figured things out.
Which I think that's a really important point to bring up, is that during this time of crisis, and a lot of people are suffering, and there's so much uncertainty, that people who aren't sick, people who don't have the virus, are home and they're thinking, oh, I should get this done and I should get that done and I should do this and I should do, which is great. I think I mean, I'm one of those people. I really
Hmm.
can't say
Oh yeah, no, I
but,
am, now that I have that time, I am too.
exactly. But I think it's also important to take that time and make sure you're getting enough rest and make sure that you're relaxing and kind of create your own schedule of creativity rather than be on this like type of speed where you can kind of pick for yourself what's going to be healthy for you and what's going to be. So I think that's good that you got to do both.
Yes, I definitely needed it. And I'm experiencing it now. Like it just hit me because I've been writing in my calendar every day, like, okay, it's day 55, day whatever. Just so, eventually I'll come back in time and be like, wow, we were here for this long period of time. We survived this. But it just hit me recently that, wow, it has been a month already, more than a month, and it's going to be another month. And now I have to readjust again. And it's just like, I think every single day trying to figure it out because, it's hard to separate each day from each other. Like you were saying, like you can work on the weekdays, whatever, but then the weekend comes. It's like, put away your phone, go do something fun, go outside and relax, because like you're saying, you have to make your own schedule because no
Yes.
one's telling you what to do and when to do it. And it can just be really frustrating.
It really can be. It can be because then you tend to be harsh on yourself. I mean, at least I am. I don't know if you are, but I tend to sometimes not be as gentle. Like, oh, you could have done this, or you could have scheduled that better, or could have done this. And it's just,
Oh
it's
yeah.
really, I think the most important thing is that because they've told us to stay, we're doing our part by staying home, by washing our hands, by doing those things. And as long as you do those things in a day, anything else should be like icing on the cake, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I
But
think
it's hard when you have that go-getter attitude, and you're a creative and you have this running list of things that you want to do. It can be
yes,
so easy to see, oh, I didn't get anything done I wanted today, or oh, I had all this time and I had that one thing to do, and nope. But I think it's important to remember to just, take a step back. You got up out of bed, you had breakfast, you went for a walk, whatever, you still did something today.
brush your teeth.
And then you have something else. Tomorrow's another day.
Exactly. It's been a weird time to get to know yourself all over again, for sure, to be, stuck in this sense. And one of the things you've taken, I want to talk to you about was you've started a new blog. You've taken this as an opportunity to do something from what I've read, you wanted to do this for a long time. And you also have, is it like a lifestyle blog, lifestyle, like Smile with Jenna? Can you explain what that is as well as what your new
Yeah.
blog is about?
Yeah. So this like idea of creating a blog and, something to give out to people started probably about last year when I was on the road. So I worked with another traveling theater company, and during that time, I just found that I had a lot of time on my hands. It was either I was working in the middle of the day and I had all this time in the morning, or at night. Like my schedule is just always changing, but I had a lot of time on my hands. And I'm not the type of person that I can just sit around and do nothing.
I'm
But
with you.
you're exactly the same. Like I can't. I feel lazy and like I need to do just something. So I started that, but I guess I just never had the time to fully commit as much as I wanted to.
Hmm.
So this was kind of a blessing in disguise that now I have all this time in the world and I can actually use it to do something that I've been, that's been in the back of my mind for such a long time. And it's a bad image to say, but I told my mom, I was like, it's like a word vomit. Like all of these ideas were in the back of my head for like a year at least. And they just needed to get out on the page. And now I can like, I can breathe and enjoy it.
That's wonderful though. That's really cool. So is the blog a part of Smile with Jenna? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So Smile with Jenna, it started kind of, the whole idea of it started a very long time ago when I was in college. I started a Facebook group because I was just really struggling, I think, with, I mean, college year, it's a very confusing time.
For sure.
And so I was trying to better myself, but I let in some other people into my own little world. And we just did like fun challenges, like focused around self-care and being nice to people, being nice to yourself, and little, things here and there. And I absolutely loved doing that. And because I ended up really liking that and taking a leadership role, I really got into personal development and lifestyles of that sort, listening to different podcasts, reading certain books. And I'm like, I'm really passionate about this. I like being in that leadership role, being in that service role. Well, I'm going to create my own community, and maybe one person, like, I don't even care if anybody likes it, but I enjoy doing it. And maybe one person will also, take something out of it too. So that's kind of how it all formed, at least the idea, like, hey, I'm smiling. I'm still like, keep on keeping on. I'm working on myself. Follow along if you want, sort of thing. So the blog is based around that, around personal development, self-care, little like easy tricks to think more positively throughout your day, find more happiness in your everyday, especially times like this right now.
For sure.
When we are all struggling a little bit. And yeah, so it's just been very, very exciting. And now it's one of those things where you start in like one project, or you have one little idea, and then all these other things or ideas you had in the back of your mind are now like the dots are connecting. And I'm talking to like you about this, which I never thought I would. And I've met some other people that have connected with me online to ask me questions too. So it's a really cool experience.
For sure. And that's really neat. The fact that, I mean, I personally completely can understand where you were coming from in college when there was a time where things were just not going well and you needed some form of inspiration. And sometimes you have to be that inspiration for yourself. You have to create it around you, because sometimes you can't always find what you need in other people and other places. And so the fact that you were aware of that and able to create Smile with Jenna. And now it's been, I mean, I am one of those people that I am on there every time you post something.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
It is the one part of social media I know how to work. I'm so new to all this. Chris has been making fun of me like you wouldn't believe, because I'm just like, what is
we are all in this together. Like, let me tell you, the things I'm learning because I have time on my hands, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm going to Google this. I'm going to learn this. Like, I look like I have it together, but I don't. It's amazing, like the free information you can find online. Like it blows
really
my mind.
It
blows
really
my mind.
Is. So cute. And even Chris, like, I still haven't quite figured out Instagram all the way. I also thought it was called Instajam for at least 24 hours. So he had
no.
But
I don't know I don't know about that one.
I wasn't paying attention. Like, I was like, oh, I don't really know about that. And I think I wasn't on it because I wasn't just sure of it. I wasn't familiar.
Right.
Like Facebook I had seen, because like, I mean, Facebook's been around forever.
It's been around for longer.
Exactly. So now this has been really fun. But I'm so grateful that it started. And I think I'm trying to think of when I don't remember when I actually joined. It was only like a couple weeks ago. But as you said, the days are blending together.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so glad that people do, like, social media is coming in such a big role. It's playing such a big role in what we're going through right now. So the fact that we can still talk and we can still see each other.
Oh yeah, I say that all the time. I'm like, I can't even imagine what this right now would look like if we didn't have technology. Like, I'm so grateful that this exists, because that would be just a whole other thing in itself.
I'm so with you there. And one of the things that what we touched on earlier about Smile with Jenna, and you are such a positive person. I mean, people gravitate towards you because you have this happiness and this energy. And this does not mean life was always easy for you. I think it was the exact opposite in your case. And you've had incredibly, incredibly hard challenges. And now with the pandemic going on and the whole world is facing a challenge, what makes you stay positive during all this? What makes you get up and out of bed in the morning, whether it was from challenges before or whatnot? Have you like created a mindset that now becomes like your go-to for
Oh
time?
yeah, big time. I think all of it, I mean, like I said, stemmed from that one moment when I was in school and I was like, okay, I do not feel good. I don't feel like myself, like something is lacking and I need it. So from there, I've just built, I think, on it. And because of that, I've taken the time to kind of focus on myself and, go a little bit inward and figure out what's happening, that I've pulled things that have worked for me and what hasn't. So in times of like crisis and need, I can always return on those to those things that I know have worked in the past. Even though
Mm,
everything else is out of control, that this one thing I can do can help me and I know I'll feel better. And that is when I wake up in the morning, I always write down what I'm grateful for. So I write down like 5 things that
mm,
I'm grateful for. And then I will journal a little bit, whether it's about, what happened in my day yesterday, what I'm going to do today. I tend to like overthink, overanalyze a lot. So writing, and yeah, a lot of people relate.
yeah.
So I have found that writing is like, it's the most amazing thing for me, that as soon as it gets onto the paper, I can breathe and I can forget about it, whether it's good or bad.
Mm,
So I always write, and then I read something. So it can be, nonfiction book. It can be something on personal development, just something. So even if it's like 30 minutes, an hour, some time to myself in the mornings
mm.
is just, it's so beneficial. And of course, I mean, we have time now. I think a lot of people are taking advantage of home workouts too.
Ah,
So
yes, I have.
yeah, so that's been a really big blessing, and there's just so much free information online too.
Mm,
So those like little baby steps have definitely helped me the most when, I've had challenging times. But the biggest thing that I think I notice more and more, um, kind of stemming off of that gratitude, is like, there's so much out of my control. There's so much in the world that's out of my control. But if I can find like one blessing in the day, like I got out of bed, I made my bed, I'm good.
yeah.
If I can look at a situation and see, okay, how is this working for me? You
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe yes, on the outside and the big scheme of life and things, it looks, very negative, but how can I kind of twist that around and see how it might be beneficial for me, even if it's a hard lesson? How can I reframe the way that I think about it? And I think just changing my perspective about certain situations, definitely, I mean, it's not easy by any means.
Oh yeah.
And you have to, force yourself to think that way. It's not something that comes naturally, but I think the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Sure.
Um, so I think that those like little things have definitely stuck with me, and especially at this time.
And one of the things you mentioned that I thought was really cool, actually, because for some reason I've always journaled at night. Like I just always thought, like, oh, this is how it works. I could get in bed, but I have been so tired the last few weeks that my journal entries are lame. Like it's literally like today was good. I'm really tired. Talk to you later.
Oh yeah, I've done that before too. I feel it depends. Some people are morning people, some people are night owls, and I know I have the most energy and the most creativity in
Mhm.
the morning. Once, it starts getting later, I get tired, I get lazy, I just want to curl up in a blanket and go to bed.
Exactly.
So
I'm
it's
so with you.
easier
I
for
think
me.
I'm going to start journaling in the morning. That's a great idea. Just
Yeah,
like,
I think it just, it gets you going, and, say maybe you feel like you woke up in the morning and you feel like you didn't get on the right, the right track too. Maybe you
mm,
have to like reframe your brain a little bit. You feel like that negative energy tugging at you. If
exactly.
you do it, first thing in the morning, I think it really helps.
Agreed. Agreed. I'm so excited to try that. Thank you for that. And
Yeah.
are there other things you've been doing at home? Like have you been cooking? Have you been doing stuff to just kind of keep your overall health, mind, body, and soul intact during this time?
So much cooking. Like I feel like all I do is the dishes. Like I wake up and I unload the dishwasher, and then I go clean the dishes in the sink, because always cooking. Like we've ordered like food every once in a while,
Sure,
as much as
sure.
we can, because there's certain days where it's just like that's the last thing I want to do.
Mm.
Um, but I do enjoy cooking, so it's not,
Oh, good.
been a crazy adjustment. And because when I was in Europe, mostly we always cooked too. So I got on a really good schedule of that.
Oh,
So a
no.
lot of cooking. When the weather is nice, it's been so hit or miss.
Oh my
Um, but I
God.
like to go outside and run. So that's been definitely a nice plus when the weather is warm. As much time outside as I can.
For sure, for sure. I know it's been like a different season depending on the day with the
Oh my
weather we've
gosh.
been
Yeah,
having.
my body is very confused.
Right? Oh, so are my allergies. I'm thinking, and now
Oh yeah.
with the virus and everything, I'm like, when I cough, is it Claritin related or should I be like CDC? Like,
I know it gives
I
you like
don't know.
all this anxiety, like this unneeded pressure. And
Exactly.
your mind wants to go, to the worst of it too, which is it's just awful.
Exactly. But I loved what you said about when you mentioned that you write what you're grateful for every morning. I also am probably going to start doing that because that's just a great way to begin your day. I mean, did you come up with that on your own? Did you learn that from somewhere?
Oh, I read a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts, so I've picked it up along the way from I think different like leaders of thought that I
Mm,
love listening to. And that's just one thing that has definitely stuck with me. And with that, it's not like big things like um, I don't know, grateful for like the house, like the roof over my head. Like that
sure.
is amazing, but you also like little things too. Like I went for a walk yesterday with my mom and she loves lilacs, and
Mm.
we went up the road and we walked and we found the lilacs and we were just like smelling them. They just smelled so good. And it's like these
Aw.
little tiny moments, I think are really nice. So tiny ones, as well as the big ones are really nice things to focus on.
Tiny moments become the big moments after you
Exactly.
get to look back and stuff.
Yeah.
So, um, one of the things I wanted to do before we go, I wanted to thank you so much for chatting with me.
This
I
has been
missed
so
you.
nice.
Isn't it been
I
really fun? Oh my gosh, I have to like it's just so good to see your gorgeous face and to see that you're doing well and that the way that you've learned so much like you said from other people and just from your own life
know.
experience that the fact that you're passing it on to whoever's watching, I know you're helping a lot of people by doing what you're doing. So
Oh,
thank you for being
thank you for
you.
having me too. I'm so happy that now too you are, sharing your gifts and your online and your presence too. Like I'm so excited. Your live videos too are cracking me up.
Oh, thanks.
They
Thank
have been
you.
they have been good fun to watch.
My brothers have helped in the workout. I'm trying to remember. I think it was my dad or my brother that came up with workout while singing, which was the Salute Weekend one. And all I can say is I really couldn't walk that much yesterday. And I generally work out, but like there was a
It's a
vodka
whole different
bottle.
game,
It's
singing
a
and
whole
working out.
thing. I
Yeah.
don't usually sing when I do that. So I was like, whoa. But one of the things I wanted to do was something called a quick question round where I just ask you, there's no timer or buzzer, so whatever you want to do is fine. But it's just ask you a couple questions before we go that are a little bit more lighthearted and maybe not so deep. But
Yeah.
do you have a go-to quarantini?
So when I was abroad, this is so sad. So when I was abroad, I drank a lot of wine. France, that wine is very cheap.
Of
So
course.
when I got home, I would like my wine, but it's not going to be the same. But the one thing that I didn't get to have was the way I make my coffee. So that was like the first thing when I got home, because I just love making my own kind of coffee, like little things in there. So that's like a single day. It's like, okay, I'm going to make my own cup of coffee and it's going to be delicious.
That sounds wonderful. Do you like it? Are you calf? Are you calf or regular?
Oh, no, regular. That's why I have all this energy. No.
And so, do you have a go-to quarantine meal now that you've said you've been cooking?
Oh my goodness. Well, I keep finding like little things I like here and there. And my new discovery is cauliflower mashed potatoes. It's
What?
like the most, yeah. So you can make, it's not actually mashed potatoes. It's like fake, mashed potatoes, but
Oh,
it's cauliflower. And I think they taste better than regular mashed potatoes. I'm just biased.
really?
Um, but they're so good. I'll have to find you the recipe and give it to you because I make them
Love
as
that.
much as I can.
I love that. No, because we
It's
just
some good
had
comfort food.
we had like the mashed potatoes like butter and salt combination, and I've been eating
Right.
really clean the last
Yeah, same.
since I was celiac diagnosed. And the interesting thing is that when I had like the butter and the salt and everything, I was like, oh, like this used to be so good, and yet I'm not like it doesn't taste the same anymore.
Right. You need to change it up.
It's not a thing exactly. So I would love that recipe. And do you you said earlier, especially when you first got home, you were binge watching Netflix. And are there any shows or movies that have helped you get through this time?
Oh my goodness. So I love the show Dead to Me, and the second season just came out on Netflix, I
Dead
think
to Me?
2 days ago. Dead to Me.
I've never heard of that. Is it like a horror show?
I know it sounds like it from that title. It's more like a
Or
thriller. Like there's murder and things like that in there,
ooh.
but it's very thrilling. And honestly, I'd probably make a great little TV show of myself, of my facial like reactions as I watch it, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like screaming as I'm watching this, and my parents are like, what are you doing?
What's going
happening? Yeah. I think there's like 10 episodes in this season, and I probably almost finished it yesterday because I was just like, I gotta know what happens. But I slowed down a little bit.
Oh, you started to pace yourself?
I have to pace myself a little.
That's funny that because my mom, have you seen like any of the Marvel, like the Avenger?
Oh yeah, big time.
Okay, so like I've always been a big fan, so is like everyone else, but mom has like never watched them. She just like wasn't home or like was working or whatever. So she started watching them during this quarantine, and her facial expressions, just like you're saying, the funniest thing you'll see. Because honestly, when any like a lot of things blow up in those movies, and whenever something does, she goes, "Oh, that's a shame." Like she really feels for the action scenes. But that's really fun. Now I want to watch that show. I'll have to watch it.
Oh, it's great.
And finally, once the pandemic has calmed and once it is safe to go back out in the world again, what will be the first thing you do?
Oh my gosh, I just want to see my family and my friends and like, give them a big hug. Like that's seriously all I want to do.
Just a big like hug reunion.
Like just a big group hug. And then on top of that, probably a haircut.
Oh yeah, I'm so with you. I've been like trying to like it's stuck in my hoops. It's stuck.
I don't think my hair has been this long since I was maybe 15 or something. Like before I ever cut it short.
I am so with you. And I got it cut. I want to think it was in like December-ish. And she said you're gonna have to come back in a few months because of the layering and how the style. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll see you in a few months. No.
No, it's been
it's
since December. I think I got it cut, and my parents are like, just grab the scissors, cut it yourself.
Oh,
no, I'm not.
I'm not that brave. No. I did YouTube it though. I was like, how hard is it? And then I watched it. I was like, no.
No, I do not trust myself. I did that with my bangs when I was younger, and that didn't end well, so I'm not going to do it again. Lesson learned.
The only time I could think of when I played Tootie and Meet Me in St. Louis when I was like 8, and it was such a fun experience, but I had these pigtails the entire time. And I had this little part of the back of my hair that I couldn't get in the pigtail, so I just cut it off. No. And one time my mom brushed my hair and she lifted my hair up and she's like, where did that one, what happened? Like, where did it go? So yeah, I think you and I, in our experience, could though, just don't cut your hair unless you're really, really sure you know what you're doing.
Yeah, if it's like an easy trim, like to each their own, but
exactly.
I don't encourage it.
I'm right there with you. Thank you so much again for talking with me.
Oh my goodness, this was great.
I'm so glad you give hugs to your family and the dog.
Yes, you as well. I know. I'm surprised they didn't interrupt and bark because they're wild.
Oh, they're adorable. Is what they are too. I mean, they're so cute. So everybody, check out Smile with Jenna. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mwah. Give all my love to your family.
Will do. Right back at you, girly. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.